Wow, look at that clean hat. That's a 1 in 4 hat right there. Or 1 in 5.
Are they gonna freaking turn it around, man? I want to see the Vikings in the playoffs.
Are you pouring that now?
Yeah.
Why don't you just, dude? You know how lazy I am. Every time I make a smoothie when I'm by myself, I literally just drink it out of the thing. I'm such a scum.
Spit the face.
Yeah, I do that. But on the side, I don't do it like the little dip or whatever.
COVID.
But Roman, episode 52. I think the last episode we got a kind of a little bit ahead of ourselves, a little bit over, and became a different whole, all kind of stories, teachings, education.
Yeah, we got way sidetracked.
Yeah, you know, we made like
I was
talk,
like, yeah.
pretty much like a talking episode, catching up episode. But Roman, I mean, we got a surprise for the folks next week. I don't even want to hint anything, but I think that's going to be great. You might not hear just from Roman and I next week. We might kick Roman off being a co-host of this Gainz podcast. I might sign off the Gainz podcast. But no, episode 52, Roman, what the heck were we supposed to talk about last week that we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, as well as what we're going to be talking about today as well?
We're going to be talking about prepping for your very first, number one, powerlifting meet. What? I'm going to powerlifting meet. What do I do? What do I do? How do I hold the bar?
Yeah, and also too, this is probably going to be like a general podcast episode. Like, you know, we're probably not going to go over everything, or like every federation that's in the realm of powerlifting. But there's a lot out there to talk about and a lot to prepare for. And also, maybe if Roman ever does a powerlifting meet, maybe he can come back on episode 52 and prepare himself instead of going someone else's research.
Oh yeah, I'll wear my singlet on air.
I thought you actually had like an OnlyFans account where you already post singlet photos.
Please donate. Please donate.
Yeah, I think Roman, your subscription starts at $9.99 a month.
Yeah, it's pretty low, especially with like how much exclusive featured content you get of me. You get to see it all, baby.
Wow.
All right. So we'll actually give you some good content this week, people. So let's start from the beginning. Somebody makes the decision that they want to do a powerlifting meet. They do a little bit of research. They find, they type in local powerlifting meets near me. They find some powerlifting meets and they sign up for one. So let's just take it from there. What I would say is I'd say give yourself some time to train for it. I would say do it at least out so that you give yourself like a nice proper like 10 to 12 week training period. And you can like set up a peak week, which I'll just like be very brief about. You pretty much want to allow for your fatigue that you've accumulated over the cycle of your training. Let's say like the past like 10 weeks performance to go up. So that's essentially like the idea behind peaking. You'll see like a lot of singles. You'll reduce a lot of like the quote unquote volume work that you might have been doing. Let's say you were doing like 3s or 5s, just like practicing position and like various like bracing mechanics, breathing mechanics, those kinds of things. So I would say generally speaking, I wouldn't, especially if it was your first powerlifting meet, I wouldn't sign up any like sooner than like 10 or 12 weeks. And you can obviously do it even further out than that. You can do 6 months, 9 months, whatever it might be. And it might be a good like fitness goal for you to keep on track for the year. So powerlifting, pretty straightforward. It's going to be 3 main lifts: squat, bench, deadlift, SBD. It's going to be competition for each of them. So for the squat, I don't know like a single federation have this like requirement. So for the squat, you need to break parallel. So the each federation is probably going most common explanation that I hear is the hip crease needs to dip slightly below the top portion of the knee. That's how judges can dictate whether you got just below parallel. So that's what they're looking for. You don't have to do the ass to grass squat. By no means. That's not necessary. It would actually be counterproductive if that's just like how you squat and that's how you want to take your opener. That's totally fine, just to make sure that you get one on the board. But know that you'd like essentially be leaving weight on the table by doing that, just because you have that additional range of motion. It's only gonna be a couple inches max for most people. It does. For bench, you're going to get a handoff portion. You typically have to show that you can stabilize the weight up, and then you're going to have the lift. This, I believe, this is like pretty standard for all 3 movements, except pretty much like the deadlift. But they are going to most likely somebody's like a judge is going to give you like a nod or a go ahead. They might give you a lift command when you can start it. So when they give you the lift command, that's when you bring the bar down. You need to have a slight chest press the bar off. So that is what I would be practicing while you're working up to the powerlift meet. So that's why I said like give yourself 10 to 12 weeks so that you can work on that form. And then the re-rack. Typically you have to show that you can control the weight up, and it's not you just get the weight up and then it collapses back down. You're probably for that, and that's not going to count. So you need to show mastery over the weight. And then for the deadlift, it's pretty straightforward. A lot of federations, they don't really allow hitching. You'll see videos, but people kind of rocking back and forth. Typically speaking, you'll get dinged for that. You likely will not get like a white light, meaning that it counted as a good lift. So you pretty much just want to stand the weight up. Make sure you hold the weight at the top until you get a go-ahead from the judges, and then slow and control the weight down. It doesn't have to be like an RDL or anything like that, but some people just drop the weight from the top. That's not going to fly in a powerlifting meet. You're going to get flagged for that. You won't get a white light.
Yeah. So some of the things that like Roman went over, like pretty much like the basics of a powerlifting meet. There's a lot more into it as well, but like some of the things as like I'm listening to Roman and Herring is first things first, you're picking a meet, you're picking a date, you're picking a location. Obviously, like if you're picking a location in the same state, you should be fine. You should be able to drive there. So make arrangements on like maybe staying in a hotel the day before, or like way before the meet starts, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're prepping food, you're stretching, you're rolling out, you're all that good stuff to get you ready for a meet. So you want to definitely plan ahead when it comes to that. Also too, Roman mentioned like you can set this out to like 8-9 months out of the year. And that's like a perfect way to keep at like a goal, an end goal, as well as keep motivation like pretty high. Like maybe motivation will kind of lower just a little bit because of the time frame and it's not so close, but at least like you're sticking to a plan and you're gonna do it for like longevity. Because like once you do a powerlifting meet, even if you like it or don't, you'll understand more about your body. You'll be working out a lot more, as well as maybe this will lead into something else. Like maybe you're just like, hey, strength and powerlifting isn't that like that motivating for me or that satisfying. So I might just want to stick to like hypertrophy, like bodybuilding. I'm going to watch what I eat. I want to look strong, and I want to worry about the focus of my muscles while I'm lifting instead of like the strength and all the other things around power. So that's like one thing. Another thing as well. There are different federations that Roman was kind of mentioning. It's pretty much the same idea. Some of them are private, some of them are public, like, federations that could get you like technically in like the Olympics and whatnot. But see, the thing is, if you're natural and not natural, I would just check into the federation, see what they're like cited for testing, as well as maybe like check in like recent meets for that federation, so like the competition, like weight class and whatnot, and you prepare for that, because you don't want to walk in there like I did a bodybuilding show for NPC, and like none of the guys besides me were natural. Like none of them were natural at all. So it was kind of hard to sit there and like compete, because like I just felt like such a small person of these people, and they just like looked at me like I was just a little guy, which whatever, I'm natural, and like I thought I did a hell of a job anyways. But like same with powerlifting meets, like you might go into like a federation that might not really care if you're natty or not. You go into like the 185 class, and these guys might have like 2,000-pound totals. So that's like another thing you don't want to like end up, because like getting a 2,000-pound total is like something that is like a very long time in the making, as well as unless you're genetically gifted. So worry about like the federation. Roman didn't really like he mentioned weight classes, but like another thing with like weight classes, I wouldn't stress. I think you might have said something, but don't stress too much about weight classes too much. I would say don't do any like drastic cuts. Like a lot of people will watch like UFC fighters. They'll like the on show day they'll drop like 30 pounds. Don't do that for your first like powerlifting meet. Try to kind of get the skills and the form correct before you get into like the mastery of like something so specific that might not even benefit you in the long run. So that's like another thing that we would suggest is like if you're gonna go into like eyeball like two weight classes that you're around, and if for some reason you cut like 30 pounds and you're in the next weight class, fine, do that. But if you're like we're talking like 10, 15, 20 pounds, don't do that on your first meet, especially because, one, you're going to lose a lot of like muscle. Two, you're probably going to not feel as comfortable as you were like 15 pounds heavier, like meaning your gear with like knee sleeves, belt, singlet, whatever the case may be, whatever you've been training for like, 16 weeks or so, whatever the case may be. You're not in that same body anymore. 10, 15 pounds, that's some pretty good changes you're going to see in your body.
Yep.
Other than that,
yeah, just plain don't do any weight cuts.
Yeah.
If you're like dieting in general, like that's fine, but don't change anything drastically. At least 1 week up to the show, like do not like. So definitely a couple things to cover. Attire is actually like really important for a lot of federations. Like many federations are going to require you to wear a singlet. So make sure you check on the website. Like if you do like USAPL, for example, I think they actually have some pretty strict like requirements. So you might not be able to do USAPL for like your first powerlifting meet unless you're just like some sort of like genetic freak. You've worked on like a farm your entire life type situation. So let's say like you find a federation that works for you. Check their attire requirements. As a singlet, just go on Amazon or something like that and search for a singlet that's gonna like work for you. Maybe test it like 2 weeks beforehand, test it a week beforehand to make sure like you haven't had any like wacky like changes in like body size. You shouldn't, but it's probably good to check. So make sure you get there like on time. From what I hear, like I've only ever done like small like powerlifting type things. It was always like geared towards football. It was never like just SBD. So it was like never like an official organization. It would just be like with another like football team and some type of like some situation where it'd be like ours were really weird. We never really did deadlift. It was always clean, so it'd be like clean, squat, and bench or something like that is what we would do. But yeah, make sure you get there on time. It should be a good time. If you're nervous, anxious, that's totally understandable. That's just like all part of the experience. People should be extremely helpful. So if you have any questions, like where do I need to go, where are like bathrooms, that kind of thing. Antoine mentioned like bringing food. I would bring food, just because my understanding is depending on like how many people are there, like the times between flights. So like the next time you lift can be like pretty lengthy. So
yeah,
let's say you go to
or short, not even like
or super short,
yeah,
or super short.
I've had that too, like dude, where I've like had to hit like 2 deadlifts within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot. So sometimes it's like 15 plus minutes too. So you might like be cooling down. So maybe bring like track equipment, like sweats that you can wear like in between, just to keep your body warm. And I'd say like try to stay moving. If it's like 30 minutes between flights, like if you need to sit down, that's fine. But I wouldn't make yourself like super duper comfortable while you're lifting. But it could be a long day. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend you take a nap. You just like pull like 600, like what the heck?
And then take a nap and then pull 800 15 minutes later.
Really crazy. So insofar as like what you're gonna put down for your lifts, because most like federations will require that you're gonna like put down the lift before you do it, so that people can like prep the weight, etc. And like you're put in like a certain like category. You don't want, if you're gonna be benching like let's say 95 pounds, like you don't want to have like people that are benching like 400 pounds, then have to like unrack the weight to like 95 pounds. So like make sure you like put that in. I would say be conservative when you start. Go with like an easy triple for your first, like something that you hit for like an easy 3, not like your hardest grinder 3. Don't do that. Like an easy 3. So I guess you call it my lifetime PR, but I hit it this year. It was like back in February, I think. For bench is 225 by 5. I would not open with 225 today. My strength has been like super weird with bench recently. So yesterday I've been hitting like 185 by like 5 or 6 recently. I hit it for 3 yesterday. So I feel comfortable that I had like a few more in me, but like that's probably what I would open with. And then I'd probably jump to 225, and then I'd probably jump to something like, depending on how 225 went, if I got it, something I feel comfortable with. Like if it went up smooth, I'd be like, boom, 245, let's go. So the goal is to get weight on the board for you. Get a total, like have something that you can improve upon for the next time. If you just like absolutely blast PRs, like that's fantastic. Don't do it on your first freaking attempt. Go for something light. Go for something easy. Even if you say like I'm gonna go for something I've done for beautiful, like you have something on the board. Don't worry about like blasting PRs. Like that is not what you're there for. You're there to like enjoy, like to take in the experience, to like meet other people that enjoy like lifting just as you do. Maybe like kind of like broaden out your network.
Network.
Smash. If you do, fantastic, but that's like not the main thing. The second attempt, if you get the first attempt, second attempt, go for what you've been doing for like a single. Go go hard. Don't do that. Just go with what you've been doing for single, and that should be fine. If you get that, if you want to just like freaking crush it from that point, like by all means, like have at it. I wouldn't do anything like insane, like add 80 pounds to you're like a season lifter. That's very much like a season lifter call. So I personally wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So Roman also put up some great points. See, like that's why it's hard for us to talk about like the powerlifting meet itself in like one 30-minute episode. But like, you know, another thing is too, when you're warming up, and Roman was mentioned, like, you know, make sure you're not like sitting around trying to take a nap on your cot. You bring a cot and just fall asleep. Also try to find some people. Like, I'm not saying like you need to do a lift where like you find like 3 people that you're really close with in lifts and sign up with them. Maybe like a day before, because usually sometimes they'll do like check-ins the day before or like the morning of, and you have some time to play around and like notice who you're with. Try to find out where you're going to be warming up at too, because like, and like, you know, some of the people that are lifting to warm up, because the thing is, like, when I did my first powerlifting meet, like, you know, there, in my opinion, I think there was like more female lifters than male lifters. So like a lot of the weight was like taken up, and like there was not enough like skinny plates. And my warm up for deadlifts, and this is like not to say like I could have pulled more. I think it's just the first one is just so exhausting. Like I couldn't even do a third lift, but like for deadlifts, like the heaviest bar that was like around to deadlift to warm up, it was 315 pounds. And like I was, you know, before, like back when I did the meet, like I was able to do 500, like 505. So it's like, you know, that's not nearly enough weight to like warm up at sometimes, especially when you're trying to get like your heaviest single out. So like, you know, make sure you're paying attention to where the weights are, paying attention who you're warming up with, and get like a scope of that before you get there, or like the day, you know, the day of, like, you know, hours in advance, so you have that time to prep for that too.
Also, make sure you check with whatever like you can bring. Some allow wraps, some don't. Some allow neoprene sleeves. Check for that. It would be a big bummer if you trained with like knee wraps, for example, and knee wraps. That would like definitely affect for you. So, the reason why you should have like signed up for this is because it's an experience that you believe you'll enjoy. So you're there to enjoy it. It's okay to be anxious, it's okay to be nervous, but also try to enjoy it. Like so out there, like chat with people. You know, you can ask about people like training styles, like what they did to like prepare for it. It might be helpful information. It might be like totally wacky. You know, somebody might say like, "Oh, I always put jelly beans, my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches." Well, it's like that might work for them, but that might not work for you.
Oh, sorry, you cut out a little bit. I didn't know if you.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something because you put the microphone in your face. and then you're going to say deload or something, so I just stopped.
Deload. Deload. Yeah, who puts jelly beans on their pizza, first off?
No. PB&J. Did I say pizza?
Maybe you did say PB. Wait, you put jelly beans on PB&J?
No, I can't have PB.
I know you can't. I know you can't. I'm just saying, like, dude. Can you imagine raisins too on there? That's gross.
Yeah. Ants on a log.
And what?
Ants on a log. That's what they call that.
I don't want to hear what people eat in Massachusetts.
It's like celery, butter, and you put like ants on it.
Okay. Yeah, I've definitely heard.
Special.
I've heard it. I've heard of it. I thought you were talking about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches though. Testing, testing. I think we're stuck again. Can you hear me okay?
Breaking up, buddy. Sorry.
Can someone give Roman's apartment complex better internet service?
You think it's on my end? It might be.
I don't know.
It was really funny. You were doing like this weird EDM.
Word EDM what?
You were doing this like weird EDM sound. It was just like glitching out on this one sound, but it was really funny because it just sounded like. And I was just waiting for like the beat to drop.
Yeah, I'm trying to create our first intro song so we could just play that in an intro instead of like talking. It'll be like that, or well, we're talking, and then like that will drop all of a sudden, and then like we'll just hit like a subject or something, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like the only other thing before we end this bad boy is, I would definitely just want to talk about like. After powerlifting meets, make sure just take a strong deload, take some time off. Maybe even, I've heard from people that are in the powerlifting community. They'll either schedule like vacations, like for like a couple days afterwards. Like maybe they'll do a meet on a Saturday or Sunday, and then they'll do like a week vacation, or like they'll go on vacation like a couple days, and they just like chill back and relax. Honestly, like when I did the powerlifting meet, when Sam and I did, we didn't really. I don't even think we lifted for like the next 3 days. Like I think we just took it easy. We just ate, enjoyed life. It was colder. We didn't have any vacation plans or anything, but like we just chilled and just like did things around the house. Spent some time probably with friends or family, and then like that's it. Like we didn't really do too much.
Nice. Yeah. Let me just finish up that one note about warming up. So if you're, sorry,
I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't know if maybe you were talking about it earlier and you just like cut it out, so I didn't hear a damn thing you said.
Probably. Yeah. So I'll try and be brief with it. If you're like a timid kind of lifter, you might have to like throw that away for the day of the meet. There might be people that are kind of like hogging warm-up stations. Like, feel free to like walk right up to somebody. I'd say if you see somebody warming up on deadlifts with like 600 pounds and like you need to start warming up with like 95 or 135, whatever it is, that's totally fine. Maybe try and find like a station that has like a little bit less weight. Just because like, being courteous too of those around you, like the population that's around you. But yeah, like walk right up to them, let them know like, hey, I'm new. Like I was hoping I could get a couple of warm-up sets in with you. People should be more than willing to accommodate and help you out. But yeah, that's pretty much the last thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, I've only met more people that love the same thing as me at these powerlifting and bodybuilding meets, and like that's it.
Yeah.
Like I met like Angelo Cisco from like his gym and what he's done in the community for like CrossFit. It's like crazy. And then like with bodybuilding, like I met Michael Lockett, the guy who like he's been top 15 Olympians like every year the past like 3 years. So like yeah, I obviously like I know I'm never gonna look like Michael Lockett, but like it's like crazy to like see that and like enjoy like that people like type of people and like the love for it. So
was that the guy that was interviewing you in the YouTube video? The big forearms?
No, that guy is actually Brett Swanson. He's actually diabetic, and he competes. Very interesting guy. He was actually, I think he worked for like this Midwest like bodybuilding like team that like sponsored shows. They did like news. They did like videos for them. They interviewed like the winners of like the divisions. So yeah, I follow him on Instagram. Dude's freaking huge. His wife's like jacked. So I can't like this. He's like, yeah, he looked like 5 times the size of me in that video, and I had a sweatshirt on and stuff.
I just remember how lean he was. His forearms were so grainy, man. I was like, damn, the guy is freaking huge.
Yeah, I'll have to send you his Instagram after this. But yeah, he's pretty jacked. Very nice guy. He seemed like he was out of it because he seemed like, yeah, I mean, he was like pretty lean. So I think he might have been prepping for a show, but you never know. Sometimes it's like here or there, but like, they interview people everywhere and like they travel and interview people at shows. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, why don't you people check out my just if you want to see how skinny and tan I was, you check the interview and you'll definitely see that.
At Antoine Coletta on YouTube, folks.
Dang. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Roman, where can they find us? And let's close this bad boy out, baby.
All the socials, the Instagram at RomanLong1031, at Antoine Coletta, at Gainz Podcast.
Wait, 1031. Wow.
Yeah.
That must mean something, huh? But go ahead.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday. So that's Instagram. On YouTube, it's just Antoine Coletta, ANTOINE space KALETA. We're on the Apple Podcast, Spotify. We're on the podcast app, Stitcher. All the podcast apps, Amazon.
We're just gonna say all of them and just say like instead of pointing them out, just be like, you figure it out. Just type in Gainz Podcast and let me know if it's on there.